Sometimes, just one sentence can change the way we see everything. A few carefully chosen words can shake us awake, guide us forward, or quiet the noise in our minds. In this video, you'll hear 10 powerful quotes, each one a quiet spark of brilliance. After each quote, we'll reflect on what it really means and how you can apply it to your life today. Welcome to Quiet Brilliance. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. The ancient Stoics believed that peace comes not from control, but from understanding what's outside of it. This quote reminds us that freedom begins inside, in how we respond, not in what happens to us. The world will change, people will disappoint, plans will fail, but what about your mind? That's your territory. Master it, and you'll master life. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a storm. Wind is howling, rain is pouring, people are shouting, the world is loud and chaotic. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose how you stand in it. This is the essence of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, philosopher and student of stillness, knew what most people never learn. We don't control what happens outside of us, we only control what happens within. Every day, things will happen that you didn't plan, people will say things you didn't expect, events will spiral in directions you can't predict. That's life, and the more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more frustrated, anxious, and helpless we become. But when you stop resisting the outside world and turn your attention inward, that's where the shift happens. You begin to realize, wait, I may not choose the storm, but I choose how I move through it. Your mind is your domain, your thoughts, your perspective, your attention, your response. That's power, that's freedom, that's strength. Most of us spend our energy trying to bend the world to our will, but the Stoics flipped the question. Instead of asking, how can I control this? Ask, how can I meet this moment with clarity? That's the mark of someone who's awake. So the next time something doesn't go your way, pause. Don't react out of habit. Choose. Ask, what's in my control right now? And what isn't? Then let go of the noise and return to your mind. That's where peace begins. And from that peace, real strength grows. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. Pain feels like it breaks us, but often it breaks us open. Suffering reveals what matters. It humbles the ego and deepens compassion. This quote is a reminder. Healing is not the end of pain. It is what pain makes possible. Pain is something we're taught to avoid. We numb it, we hide it, we try to outrun it. But this quote by the Persian poet Rumi turns our thinking inside out. The wound is the place where the light enters you. He's not romanticizing suffering. He's revealing its secret, that in pain, there's an opening, a crack, a passage. Something breaks, yes, but something also breaks open. Think about a time in your life when everything fell apart, when you lost someone, when something ended, when you were heartbroken, overwhelmed, uncertain, and yet, didn't that moment teach you something nothing else could? Didn't it wake you up? Didn't it make you softer, stronger, or more honest with yourself? Wounds force us to feel. They humble the ego. They make us stop pretending. They remind us that we are human, fragile, yes, but also open to transformation. The Stoics say, what stands in the way becomes the way. Rumi says the same. In poetry, when life wounds us, we think we've been broken, but often we've simply been opened. So the next time something hurts, don't rush to seal it shut. Sit with it. Ask it, what are you trying to show me? Not all pain has purpose, but all pain can carry wisdom if you're willing to listen. Let the light in, not in spite of the wound, but through it. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Friedrich Nietzsche. Purpose is power. If you know your why, you can endure hardship, boredom, even fear, without meaning. Even comfort feels empty. When you're lost, don't look for escape. Look for meaning. Life will test you in ways you didn't expect, through pain, loss, uncertainty, and the slow grind of ordinary days. And in those moments, it's not comfort that keeps us going, it's meaning. Nietzsche's words. Cut through every excuse, every doubt, every moment we feel like giving up. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. The why is purpose. It doesn't have to be grand. It might be your children, a dream, a sense of responsibility, a quiet promise you made to yourself. But whatever it is, it gives your life direction. The how is the mess, the struggle, the things that don't go according to plan. And here's what Nietzsche is saying. If your why is strong enough, you can move through any storm. You can endure pain not because you like it, but because it's in service of something greater, something that makes the suffering worth it. People survive war, addiction, grief, and despair, not because they're lucky, but because something within them refuses to give up, because they've anchored their life to a reason, a why. So if you feel lost, don't ask, how do I escape this? Ask instead, why does it matter that I continue? What or who is on the other side of my effort? That's the fuel you're looking for. That's your compass in the dark. Purpose doesn't erase pain. It gives it a direction, and that can make all the difference. Don't aim at success. The more you aim at it, the more you miss. Aim at meaning, and success will follow. Viktor Frankl. This quote turns modern advice on its head. Success is not a goal, it's a byproduct. Do meaningful work, be useful, seek truth, the rest will follow. Quietly and on its own terms, we live in a world obsessed with achievement. Success is sold as the ultimate goal, the finish line. But Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, psychiatrist, and author of Man's Search for Meaning, challenges that idea entirely. He tells us, don't aim at success. The more you aim at it, the more you miss. Aim at meaning, and success will follow. Why? Because success isn't a target, it's a side effect, a byproduct of doing something that matters. When you chase success for its own sake, titles, money, recognition, it slips through your fingers. It never feels like enough. But when you choose meaning, to create, to serve, to build, to heal, something deeper happens. You grow, you endure, and in that process, success shows up, not as a prize, but as a quiet companion. Frankl's wisdom comes from unimaginable suffering. He lost his family in concentration camps. He was stripped of everything except one thing, the freedom to find meaning, even in pain. And that's what kept him alive, not comfort, not ease, but purpose. His message to us is timeless. You don't need to be famous to live a meaningful life. You don't need to be wealthy to leave an impact. You just need to care about what you do deeply, honestly, quietly. So the next time you ask yourself, am I successful? Try asking a different question. Am I living with meaning? One will impress others, the other will fulfill you. Choose carefully. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Socrates. Busyness is not productivity. Activity is not purpose. Sometimes we run to avoid silence, thinking motion means progress. But if you're moving in circles, you're not going anywhere. Socrates challenges us to pause and ask, is this meaningful or just movement? We live in an age of motion, notifications, appointments, deadlines, always rushing, always connected, always doing. But in all this doing, how much are we actually being? Socrates, speaking over 2,000 years ago, offers a quiet warning. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. On the surface, it's easy to mistake movement for meaning. The full calendar, the long to-do list, the constant hustle, it looks productive, even admirable. But often, it's a mask, a way to avoid stillness, a way to avoid ourselves. Busyness can become a form of numbness, a distraction from the deeper questions. Am I aligned with what matters? Or am I just running in circles? A barren life doesn't mean an empty one. It means a hollow one, where action replaces intention, where noise replaces clarity. Socrates isn't telling us to stop working. He's asking us to pause long enough to ask why we're working, to bring meaning back into motion, because it's not how fast you move, it's where you're going. A slow, quiet path aligned with your values is richer than a fast track to nowhere. So ask yourself, what fills your day and what fills your soul? The two aren't always the same, but they can be if you choose with care. Comparison is the thief of joy. Theodore Roosevelt. You were not born to be someone else. Social media, status games, even casual gossip, they all tempt us to measure our worth against others. But joy is internal, and comparison replaces it with insecurity. Celebrate others, but stay in your lane. It's where you're most free. You scroll, you see their life, the perfect photos, the smiling faces, the achievements, the homes, the bodies, and slowly, without realizing it, you start to question your own. That's how quiet comparison is. It doesn't yell, it whispers. Why don't you have that? Why aren't you more like them? Roosevelt said it simply and powerfully. Comparison is the thief of joy, because joy isn't found in being the best. It's found in being present, in being aligned with your own path, your own timing, your own truth. The moment you measure your life against someone else's highlight reel, you forget everything that makes your journey sacred. You forget your quiet progress, your private victories, your unique purpose, and comparison doesn't just steal joy, it steals gratitude. It blinds you to what you already have, to who you've already become. Here's the thing, there will always be someone richer, smarter, faster, prettier, more popular, but that's not the point. You weren't born to be them. You were born to be fully, honestly, only you. So the next time comparison creeps in, try this. Pause, breathe, shift your focus from what you lack to what you've learned, from what they have to what you've grown through. That's where joy lives, not in comparison, but in connection to yourself and to what truly matters. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties. Epictetus, how much of your stress is real, and how much is a story your mind created? We live inside imagined futures, rehearsing what might go wrong. Epictetus tells us, the problem isn't the moment, it's our thoughts about the moment. Reality is rarely as bad as fear makes it most of the time. It's not what's happening that overwhelms us, it's what we think might happen. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who lived in slavery before becoming one of the wisest teachers of his time, saw this clearly. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. We replay conversations, we rehearse failures that haven't happened, we carry entire disasters in our minds, shaped by what if and maybe, and yet, most of it never comes true. The human mind is a powerful storyteller, and if we're not careful, we start believing those stories more than we believe the present moment. Think about it. How many times have you feared something, and when it finally came, it wasn't nearly as bad as you imagined, or never came at all? Anxiety feeds on uncertainty, but it starves in the presence of clarity. That's what the Stoics trained for, not to erase fear, but to see clearly, to separate what's real from what's mental noise, to face today, not tomorrow's projection of it. So how do we do that? We pause, we come back to the breath, we ask, what's real right now? What can I control? What story am I telling myself, and is it helping me? When you live fully in the present, you shrink the power of imagined anxieties. You realize that most storms exist only in your head, and when your mind is calm, the world becomes much quieter too. What you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. Gretchen Rubin, small habits build big lives. It's not about the huge breakthroughs or perfect days. It's about showing up consistently. This quote reminds us, greatness is a side effect of repetition. We often wait for big moments, a breakthrough, a transformation, the day everything changes, but real life, it's made up of tiny moments, repeated. Gretchen Rubin's insight reminds us, what you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while, because who you are becoming is not built in one big gesture, it's shaped slowly. In the choices you make when no one is watching, in how you speak to yourself each morning, in whether you reach for your phone or sit with your thoughts, in the small things you do out of care, not convenience. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. Reading 1 page a day builds a library in your mind. Taking 5 minutes to stretch builds a healthier body. Saying one kind thing each day transforms relationships. We often underestimate the cumulative power of small habits, but they're seeds, and if you water them, they grow. The once-in-a-while moments are great, the spontaneous motivation, the perfect day. But they're rare and they fade. What lasts is the rhythm you live by. Ask yourself, what am I doing today on repeat that shapes my future? And what would I become if I stayed on this path for a year? You don't need to change your life overnight. You just need to show up for it, one small action at a time. Happiness is not something ready-made, it comes from your own actions. Dalai Lama, happiness isn't luck. It's not waiting at the end of a road. It's in how you speak, how you treat people, how you think every single day. It's an outcome of choosing presence over perfection. We often imagine happiness as something we'll find around the next corner, after the next promotion, in a different city, in someone else's arms, somewhere, someday. But the Dalai Lama offers us a quieter, more empowering truth. Happiness is not something ready-made, it comes from your own actions. In other words, happiness isn't found, it's cultivated. It doesn't arrive, it's created. Choice by choice, moment by moment. This isn't the kind of happiness that depends on luck or perfect circumstances. It's not about constant joy or surface smiles. It's deeper than that, a sense of peace, of alignment, of living with intention. It's in how you treat others, with kindness, even when you don't feel like it. It's in how you speak to yourself, gently, patiently. It's in the decisions you make when no one is watching, and how you return to yourself when things fall apart. Happiness, in this light, isn't something passive. It's an active practice, a quiet responsibility. You might not be able to control what happens today, but you can choose to act in a way that brings you closer to your values. You can build a day, a life, that feels like yours. The most powerful part. It's not about doing everything right. It's about showing up with presence and remembering that the little things do matter. So ask yourself, what actions today will make tomorrow lighter? Not louder, not flashier, just a little more whole. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Albert Einstein, every crisis carries a lesson, every challenge, a chance to rise. Don't wish it away. Look deep and ask, what is this teaching me? Einstein believed that intelligence wasn't just solving problems, but seeing what they can unlock. When you're in the middle of a challenge, the last thing you want to hear is that it's a gift. Difficulty doesn't feel beautiful. It feels like pressure, like loss, like confusion, like something you didn't ask for. But Einstein, a man who reshaped the world's understanding of reality, looked deeper. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity, not after, not once it's over, in the middle of it. This isn't just optimism, it's a shift in how we see struggle. Challenges stretch us. They reveal what we're capable of. They uncover skills, patience, and perspectives we never would have found otherwise. And sometimes, difficulty redirects us toward better choices, toward deeper self-awareness, toward what we were meant to do, but never would have chosen without the pressure to change. The key is not to pretend everything's fine, it's to stay curious, to ask, what is this teaching me? What can I build with what's broken? Where is the hidden doorway I didn't see before? Most people try to get out of difficulty as fast as possible, but some The quiet ones, the grounded ones, stay long enough to let it transform them, and those are the people who find the opportunity buried inside the discomfort, who emerge, not just older, but wiser. Difficulty is real, but so is the chance to grow. Sometimes the most beautiful chapters begin in the middle of your hardest ones. These 10 thoughts came from minds across centuries, but all point toward the same truth. Wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers, and when you're quiet enough to listen, life becomes clearer. Subscribe to Quiet Brilliance for more ideas that challenge, calm, and inspire. Until next time, stay thoughtful.